Hello everybody and welcome back to the Crow's Nest. It is me, Connor here, and today we'll be talking a bit more about Final Fantasy XIV. I'm coming up on a month in the game now. I've really been enjoying my time in the game, and I've currently got to the raiding level, which is level 50 I believe. You can do the first 3 raids at level 50 depending on your item level. You need 90 to do, item level 90 to do the 3rd raid. But at typical level 50 you get 2 raids, the Labyrinth of the Ancients and the Cycron Tower, or the Cycron Tower. I believe that's what they're called. In this video we'll be looking at the Labyrinth of the Ancients. That's the one I did for this footage. And basically I just wanted to compare the raids and, you know, just the instances compared to World of Warcraft and games like that. Now, in World of Warcraft, as you all know, we'll start with the comparison with World of Warcraft. In World of Warcraft, as you all know, you need either 40 or 20 players. Is it 40 or 25, something like that? I haven't played World of Warcraft in a year and more than that on Radiant level, so it's been a long time since I've done that in WoW. But yeah, you need quite a few players to do it, and it takes a hell of a long time if you're queuing, especially as a DPS or a healer, to get into a raid in World of Warcraft. If you're just doing raid, getting a lot quicker if you're doing like looking for group summit in a party chat or in a guild or whatever, but I never did that. I was always LFG. But yeah, you need a lot of people to get in, and the thing is with World of Warcraft, the raids are really, people expect you to know what you're doing, and they're complex and they're convoluted, and you don't really know what you're doing unless you read up for months on end about what each raid does. Obviously I'm exaggerating with the months on end bit, but you know, it feels like that, you know? You have to read up and read into the raid and take the right equipment in, not just in terms of armour and weapons, but in terms of potions and stat buffs and stat debuffs and stuff like that. You have to be really well equipped, and to be fair, I quite like that system. It's not a bad system, I'm not knocking it at all. It puts a bit of complication into the mix, and I like that. But with Final Fantasy, from what I've seen in the first 3 raids, like I say, I've only just hit 50. I'm just coming up on 60 with my Samurai, which is my highest character. And yeah, so with Final Fantasy, all it is you go from room to room fighting bosses. Bosses have minuscule you know, mechanics. It's essentially mechanics you'll come across in dungeons and stuff like that, but pretty much exactly the same as that. Maybe you'll have to hide behind a rock to avoid an attack, which I'll try and put the example up on the screen because I did fail to do that in this one and got killed. But there's you got to hide behind rocks, so you've got to stand in a certain area, which again is stuff you have to do in dungeons and stuff. To avoid attacks, and it's a lot more simple, and as well, you can get, let's talk about the main thing. The queues are amazing in Final Fantasy. You just get pretty much instantly within 5 minutes into a raid, and that is as much as I could hope for, especially being a DPS, because in World of Warcraft I could be queuing for anywhere upwards of 40 minutes at times, you know, just to get into a raid as a DPS. So that's why I'd usually stick to dungeons or PvP in World of Warcraft. Now that's one thing I would like to talk about in Final Fantasy. PvP, just not for me. I've tried it a couple of times. I will be doing it to get my rank up, obviously, but I want to get better at the game. It really isn't for me though, and the thing with Final Fantasy is it's not focused on PvP. The PvE is the main focus of Final Fantasy. Obviously they do have the little story around the PvP stuff, but it isn't focused around that. And to be fair, it's good for what it is, because if you've got a soul gem, which is your we'll call it a clash gem for anyone who doesn't know. Obviously, sorry, I died because I didn't hide behind the boulder. I don't know if I've got this bit of footage on the screen now, but I have for me. But yeah, if you've got a clash gem, or you know, it's when you hit level 50. Sorry, yeah, when you hit level 50, and you get a clash gem. Or is it 50 or 30? No, 30, you get a clash gem, and when you've got that, if you go into a PvP match, you get all your abilities that you would have at max rank given to you to actually you know, fight within the PvP, and it's really fun, but for most of the time you don't know what them abilities do, and you're only giving them abilities when you get into the match, so you don't have time to read up on what the abilities do unless you went to a wiki, which is sort of what I try to avoid in games. So the dungeons and raids are a lot more focused on what you can do because they're level synced to what level you get them at. So, like I say, I'm nearly level 60 with my samurai, and I'm level synced to 50 for the raids that I've got at the minute because I'm still going through Heaven's Ward, so I don't have the Heaven's Ward raids yet, I don't think, because I'm not maxed through that DLC. And then I'll be going through Stormblood and Shadowbringers to get them raids as well. But yeah, I'm really enjoying the raids. One complaint I do have, and there's one massive complaint that I do have, and that would be the fact that in the combat, you'll see it as in pretty much every instance of the combat. There's so many colours and flashes and stuff going on of people's abilities that you have to pick out your space in the fight, and sometimes you're right in front of the enemy. You have to be, because otherwise you can't see what you're doing and you don't get any visual cues. So it's really quite hard to establish where you are and what you're doing, which can be quite annoying. But you get used to it eventually. If you know your rotation and you know your combos. I did slightly explain combos in the last video I did, so if you want to see something about the combos and stuff in Final Fantasy, then go into the last video. It's up on the channel at the minute. Then yeah, if you know your combos, you know your rotation, then you should be fine. But to be honest, if you can't see what you're doing, I do find it a bit annoying. But yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to say about raids in Final Fantasy and instances in general. I still am enjoying the game. I'm really enjoying the game. I'm spending all my time gaming at the minute, either in this or on my Nintendo Switch. And at the minute I'm playing through Persona 5 Strikers. The next scripted video that we'll be doing will be a video on Monster Hunter Rise. So look forward to that one in the next couple of weeks. I've got my copy coming in the next couple of days. And then I should be scripting a video after the first couple of days of play. So unless we do the first hour, but Monster Hunter games typically aren't set for the first hour of gameplay. So yes, if you have enjoyed this video, guys, I have been Connor from the Crow's Nest. I would highly encourage you to leave a like. If you want to subscribe to see more content from my channel and also help me hit that 100 subscriber goal, then be sure to go ahead and also hit my notification bell while you're there. And until next time, I've been Connor from Crow's Nest, and I am